Hi, my name's Benji and welcome to Dice vs Cards. Today we're looking at Karuba, a 2 to 4 player competitive route building game where you're looking to move your meeples from point A to point B in the quickest manner possible. That combines this with grid movement and tile placement because you're looking to place the tiles on the player board in efforts to ensure that your adventurers don't go round and round in circles or keep butting heads with dead ends. Now you play as adventurers exploring the island of Karuba, and for historical and geographical surveying purposes are looking to uncover the 4 lost temples on the island, not at all to plunder lost treasure and gold. So let's see how this plays and whether this could be the next game for you. So the object of the game is for you to be the player with the most points when one of the endgame conditions is met. And those conditions are that at least one player has moved all of their coloured adventurer meeples to the respective temple tokens on the player board, or when the expedition leader has drawn all 36 jungle tiles. Now to set up the game, each player will need to take their own player board, and you'll all need easy access to the temple treasures. Now the number of treasures you start the game with is equal to the number of players, and I'll put more details about that on screen now. You'll also need easy access to the gold and crystal tokens, and then each player will need to start with their own set of 4 coloured adventurer and temple tokens. Remember, they're all the same for each player. Similarly, each player will need to take a set of 36 jungle tiles, and they're all differentiated from the colour on the back. Now to finish setup, randomly pick one player to place the first set of adventure and temple tokens, and the adventurer token needs to be placed on a beach number to the left hand side or bottom of the player board. So player 1 places it on the number 70, and then they'll take the same coloured temple token and place it on a jungle space to the top or right hand side of the player board. So here player 1 places that token on number 50. Now the only limitation is that the 2 tokens need to be at least 4 spaces away from each other. Now once that's done, all the remaining players need to place the same coloured tokens on the same numbers on their player board. And then the player to the left will do the same thing, and all players will replicate that, and so on until all tokens have been placed. You're then good to go. So you'll need to nominate a player to be the expedition leader, and that player is going to shuffle and place in a pile face down their 36 jungle tiles. And all the remaining players will then need to place their jungle tiles face up with the numbers of easily accessible and available dependent on what tiles are being drawn by the expedition leader. Now each go the expedition leader will draw the top tile of their pile and announce the number seen in the top left hand corner to all of the players. Now every other player, including the expedition leader, will need to take that numbered tile and take one of 2 actions. The first of which is to place the tile on the player board. So remember, we need to get our respective adventurers to the same coloured temples on the player board. So this player is going to place that tile face up here. Now the only limitation in placing tiles is that the number has to remain in the top left hand corner. Now we'll also see sometimes crystal or gold symbols on there, and whenever you do, you place the respective token on the tile. Now we skipped ahead a few turns to illustrate the second action each player can take when a jungle tile is revealed, that being to move their adventurer. So here let's just say the expedition leader drew tile number 20. Each player can then, instead of placing the tile on their board, use the tile to move their adventurer a number of spaces equal to the number of exits on the tile. So here we can see we're going to give an adventurer 2 movement points. Now you can only ever move 1 adventurer per action. So here the player moves the purple adventurer 2 spaces along the path towards its ultimate intended destination. Now you don't pick up crystal and gold when you pass a tile, you have to end your movement to pick it up, and you can no longer move once you do that. There are also restrictions in that 2 adventurers of different colours cannot occupy the same tile, and adventurers cannot overtake or move over other adventurers either. So the yellow would have to stop here until a purple carried on moving. Now, it does take one action to move on to the first space and also an action to move off of the last space to the intended temple. The play proceeds like that until players start to get their adventurers to their respective temples, and when they do that, they take the highest numbered temple treasure from the supply and put it in front of them, and as you'd expect, that's going to give them a number of points at the end of the game. Now, if two players do that at the same time, one player will take the highest value token and the other player will take the second most, and then make up the difference in crystal tokens that are worth 1 point and gold tokens that are worth 2 points. Now, play continues to proceed like that until those endgame conditions are met. Either one player gets all of their adventures to the temples, or all 36 jungle tiles are drawn by the expedition leader. You then need to tally up your final score by adding up the number of temple treasures you got and any crystal or gold, remembering crystal's worth 1 and gold worth 2. And the player with the most points is then the winner. So that's how this plays. What did I think of it? So who is this game for? Well, it's a lightweight game, and if you like that style with a goodly amount of replayability in it, then there's probably something here for you. If you're a Beach Boys fan and you want to be or if you like the movement aspects over anything, let's say for example a dungeon crawler, and you don't want the bells and whistles, then again there's something here for you. So you might want to consider this if you liked Limes, published by Abacus Spiel, or Carcassonne, the fan favourite from Z-Man Games, because both of those share some similarities with this. So in terms of gameplay, well, this on paper doesn't particularly inspire, but I'm pleased to say once you get it to the table, all of those thoughts go away, because this is a great game to play. And here are a few reasons why. Number one, simultaneous player action. There's no player downtime. You pick a tile, everybody does something. Number two, I love it when they take one component and give it multiple uses. Now sometimes that's extremely clunky, but the way they've done it here is beautiful in its simplicity. Those tiles you can place on your board or you can use to move your adventure. Simple. And number three, and the most emotional one of the three, even no matter how many players you play this with, you think that you've all got the same access to the same player board, the same objective and the same tile. Everybody's going to make roughly the same decision while you watch as everyone expresses themselves in a different way. It really is scientific proof that we are each our own beautiful little snowflake. One suggestion: play variants. This doesn't detract from the fact that this is a great game, but why not add them in there? There are so many opportunities here. This feels like the Derek Zoolander version of Karuba, where you just cannot turn left or west. Why not, I don't know, mix things up? You're actually adventurers fleeing the island. So you start on a jungle base and you're fleeing to the beach. I don't know, perhaps you've awoken this sort of large ape-like creature. I don't know, a quarter of a third of the size of the Empire State Building, for example. You know, that would be something to behold and would allow you to get your fix and turn left after all. Now, please feel free, Rudica and Harbour, to use that idea. I don't think there are any copyright infringements to worry about. I'll sign a waiver, whatever it needs. You know, perhaps for those that like more luck in games, those nutters that like more luck, perhaps everyone could have had a random tile draw and you could have each gone off on your merry way. So in terms of the look and feel and theme of the game, well, it has all three of those things. The look is fine, cartoony type style that's absolutely pleasing to the eye, nothing spectacular. It has a feel. Production quality again is acceptable and decent across the board, and it has a theme, albeit shoehorned into 2 paragraphs at the start of the rulebook. But you know what you're doing, you're adventurers, you're on an island, blah 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 blah. But this isn't a game that needs any of those things to be of an excellent standard. Yes, the box didn't need to be that big for such a lightweight game, but who cares? Because Dice vs Cards are going to give this a final score of 8 out of 10. This might take some of you by surprise when you unbox it, but it really is a delight to play. However, that's it from me. I'll see you next time.